Hello, Hirelings. I'm DavDarkwick, and this is the last call at the tavern. I mean, I've already been doing it via text, so why not record my thoughts instead? Let's see what sort of intelligence has been pinned to the board today. So, what's first? Okay, a proper run go, that one. Well, upon my arrival at this particular demi-plane, I happened across some rather sophisticated Arcanotech. It allowed for a secure connection to the external planes. Properly up to snuff technology, if I do say so myself. My initial reconnaissance led me to a curiosity known as Stickam. A bit of a penny dreadful in terms of stability, but it served the purpose. From there, I executed a tactical migration to Justin.tv, followed that whole logistical flow through JTV updates, and finally docked my signal over on Twitch. I've been maintaining this particular transmission, though, ever since, making sure the whole affair stays apples and pears for the tavern crew. Okay, well then what's next? Hold on, a passcode? I'm afraid you've gone all in my eye and Betty Martin on me there. I don't possess one of those glowing pocket rectangles you lot are so fond of. In my realm, the communication infrastructure is strictly analog and properly up to the knocker. Our talking trumpets, or phones as you call them, are all stationary landlines, elegantly shaped like candlesticks. Observe the schematics here. There are no numerical encryption keys or biometric fribbles required to initiate a transmission. If I wish to send word, I simply lift the receiver and inform the operator of my intent. It's a solid system. If a rogue wants to intercept my comms, they can't simply hack a cloud. They have to physically tinker with the copper wires like a common mudlark. Far more tactical, if you ask me. Hold on. Is that even a proper query? That's absolute balderdash. A rogue is never late. That is merely a bit of mounting with a tactical purpose. We aren't beholden to pedestrian pocket watchers or the frantic ticking of a common toffer. In truth, we are simply on the QT, hovering just outside your periphery and waiting for the most opportune moment to strike. While you were fretting about the hour, I've been on site for a considerable duration, conducting a silent survey from the shadows. It isn't a delay, it is operational patience. I don't arrive when the clock strikes, I arrive when the strike window is properly up to the knocker. If you didn't see me, it just simply means that my skulking was executed to perfection. Oh, a fascinating bit of business, that. It began during a reconnaissance mission in the Las Vegas sector. I happened upon a barcade, a curious tavern dedicated to the mechanical diversions, and from an overlook I spotted a device known as DDR. I lacked the means to install such a massive contraption back at my home base, but I did possess an emulator for Game Boy transmissions. I discovered they had miniaturized the DDR experience for the Game Boy Color. The melodic intelligence was superb, and my research into the composers led me down a rabbit hole toward Beatmania. Now, initially I invested a fair amount of gold pieces into the original series and a home console, but soon my forensic research revealed the existence of 2DX. I promptly liquidated more assets for the PS2 and the necessary Arcanotech controllers. It has remained a staple of my kinetic training ever since. You know, it keeps the cogs and springs of my reflexes proper for when a mission requires split-second timing. Well, I do indeed engage with direct dispatches, and I aim to provide a response with all possible dispatch myself. However, One must understand the sheer volume of intel that crosses my desk. While I endeavour to be punctual with my replies, the logistical reality is that a proper well-considered missive can sometimes take upwards of 7 to 10 business days. Now, I'm not some half-farthing's clerk with nothing better to do than scribble notes all day. I have rigmaroles to manage and skulking to attend to. If your message is on the shelf for a week, do not get the morley grubs. Rest assured, I am performing a forensic analysis of your query and will return an answer once the data is properly bottled and corked. Oh, mind crack, as some won't call it. I performed a bit of reconnaissance in those blocky territories when the phenomena first manifested, and for several years thereafter. Now, initially I found the logistics of creation and the forensic exploration of the terrain to be a bit of genuine fun. However, the novelty soon wore thin. One can only tinker with cubes for so long before the whole affair becomes heavily plodding and tiresome. Now, these days, I only venture into those pixelated pits for the sake of generic friend slop, a bit of mouching about with the tavern crew, and when there's any nanty else to do. But even that is a rare occurrence. Frankly, I'm properly fed up with the concept. If I'm to be skulking through a world, I prefer it to be a bit more grit and significantly fewer creepers interrupting my thoughts. Okay. Music? Well, you refer to the rhythms I use to maintain focus during a heavy plodding mission. Now, I've sampled the melodic wares of many a plane, and these 5 are truly up to the knocker. Number 5, DJ Gamma. For when the operation requires a prodigious amount of velocity, it's a bit of high-stepping energy that keeps the morley grubs at bay. Number 4, Armin van Buren. A master of the trance-inducing arts, his soundscapes are excellent for long-range reconnaissance where one needs to enter a flow state without going skew-whiff. Number 3, Guns for Hire. Naturally, I have an affinity for fellow contractors. Their output is hard-hitting and menacing, perfect for when a road needs to look sharp while breaching a fortress. Number 2, Gillum Desk. Now this fellow plays the hurdy-gurdy, an instrument from the old world. The way he tinkers with those strings is afternoonified genius. It sounds like the very clockwork of the universe spinning round. Number 1, the Masked Minstrel. My absolute crown jewel. Now there is a mysterious quality to her transmissions that resonates with my own redacted history. It's top-shelf intelligence for the soul, and frankly, anything else sounds like half-farthings in comparison. Eh? Wait, you don't mean? I'm sorry, have I watched anime? My dear fellow, I have consumed a metric ass-ton of the stuff. A true prodigious amount of animated intel, narrowing the field as a proper flowerer, as the archives are quite full to the brim, but I have managed to extract a top-tier triumvirate for your consideration. Number 3, Spy X Family. A fascinating study under the Rose operations and domestic rigmarole. The logistics of maintaining a family facade while executing high-stakes espionage is highly relatable. Number 2, Detective Conan. A masterclass in forensic deconstruction. The lad's ability to identify sharp practice and scaly villains while trapped in the frame of a half-farthing's child is quite excellent. Number 1, Delicious in Dungeon. Now, it is without question the cat's pajamas of animated chronicles. The logistical brilliance of culinary survival in a hostile environment is brilliant, but truthfully, it is the presence of Chilchuck Tims that truly sets my heart aflutter. To have such a master of lock and key by one side, His temperament is delightfully crusty, and his skulking abilities are simply afternoonified. I find myself quite spoony over his methodical approaches to traps, and it's enough to make a rogue's cogs and springs go completely skew-whiff. Now let the record show that I am utterly gone with the man. Chiltruck will be mine. If not as a permanent operational partner, then perhaps as something significantly more mushy. A halfling can dream, can he not? Rank an entire catalogue. Oh, Lord Lovedock, that is a bit of a flora. But to perform a proper forensic audit on such a franchise of that magnitude would require more parchment than I have in the entire Tavern archives. But let's give it a whirl. Alright, so let's see, what do we have? Okay, well, looks like they have all the games here, so let's see. The first Legend of Zelda. Let's see, NES, I believe it was remade a few times. I know they had BS Zelda, which was a remake. But for the original, I believe we'll just put that mid-tier. Just because it's pretty mid, to be honest. It's fun, not gonna lie. Adventure of Link. I hated Zelda 2, to be honest. Just not a lot of fun. There's a lot of bosses in there that are kind of a pain in the arse. But let's see, Link to the Past. Oh, well, with how often I played the randomizer, I think we're just gonna put you right up here. Link's Awakening. Oh, it doesn't matter. Game Boy version of the remake. It doesn't look like they put the remake on here, so I guess we're going to consider them all together. I really did enjoy the remake. I've yet to actually do the randomizer. But I feel like this belongs somewhere in the A category. Ocarina of Time, another one that I play a lot of the randomizer with. And it is a ton of fun, much like Majora's Mask. I'll put that... Oh, actually, you know what? No. Majora's Mask will go down one. Because even with the randomizer, you have to collect all the fairies. And sometimes you have to do it multiple times. And it's a pain in the arse, and I don't want to deal with it. But it's still fun, so I'll keep it at level A for now. Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Oh, that was a good game. I really wish that they would remake it with the same engine that they used with the Link's Awakening remake. But I don't really play it that often, and I tend to get stuck quite a bit in a few places. Although, since I've fully beaten it a few times, I feel like maybe... Yeah, you know what, we'll put that in A. Four Swords. Four Swords, that's the one that came in the GBA version of, not Link's Awakening, what was I about to say? Link to the Past, that's what it was. And then they re-released it on the 3DS as well, that was a lot of fun. I never fully completed it, because it's a bit of a pain. Or maybe I did fully complete it and I just can't figure out if there's a proper ending. Oh well. Anyways, I had a lot of fun, especially with some friends and everything. That's a lot of fun. We'll put you... You know what, I'm going to put you right here. Yeah, I would say you're mid, because it's not really a requirement in terms of the timeline or the story or any of the lore or anything. Wind Waker, though. Oh, that's the one that I always play a lot of, especially randomized. So we'll put that up there in S tier. Four Swords Adventure, that was the one that came out in GameCube. That one actually is part of the timeline and the lore, so I remember enjoying it. I've only beaten it once though. I've never done it more than once. But I had a lot of fun. I feel like you belong... I can't tell. A or B? A&a-half if I could. I feel like we'll just put you here. No. Yeah, actually, that was a lot of fun. Minish Cap, that one I play a lot of the randomizer of, so I'll put that up here S tier as well. Same goes for Twilight Princess, but I don't have a lot of fun with Twilight Princess. There's a few bits and bobs in there that are really repetitious and really annoying. Mainly that whole gather the parts from the world and warp them to the correct location. That stuff is really annoying. But overall, it's pretty fun. I feel like it's a bit mid though, I'm sorry. I'm sure I'm going to get hateful comments on that one. Phantom Hourglass, I never really played it more than once. But I enjoyed that one quite a bit, especially that dungeon with the timer and everything. That was quite a bit of fun. I'll put in level A on that. Spirit Tracks. I don't remember too much of that one, to be honest. It came and went. I've beaten it a few times, but it was overall a bit mid, so I'll put you mid. Skyward Sword. Oh, that one. That's tough. That's actually really tough. Skyward Sword is fun, but I can't stand Fee, even though she's as annoying as Navi. I wouldn't say as annoying as Navi, though. Navi's pretty annoying, but not as bad as Fee. Fee talks to you like you're a stupid child the entire time, so I think I'll just put you mid. The game mechanics were great. Then again, motion controls. Yeah, I'll put you mid. Link Between Worlds. That one is a hell of a lot of fun. I enjoy that way too much. I kinda wish that it had replayability. But even if there is a randomizer of this one, which I think there is, you can't really randomize it too much because you could just explore it open world. It makes no fucking difference what you do. I'm gonna put you mid as well. Triforce Heroes I never completed. I tried to do it solo and it's very, very difficult. One of these days when I land on the Wheel of Fate for the games of Zelda and I go through that timeline, we'll definitely try it again. If not, I'll have to gather some people to help me out, but in the meantime, I believe, just for now, sea level. The mechanics were okay, because it's the same mechanics as Link Between Worlds, but the fact that it's really difficult to really do on your own, it just seems kind of pointless and moot. Breath of the Wild, I heavily enjoyed. I've beaten that 3 times now, and I can easily see myself doing it a 4th. Same goes for Tears of the Kingdom. I really enjoyed Tears of the Kingdom. Now, Echoes of Wisdom, I've never actually beaten. I've played about the first hour and a half of it, and then from there I stopped. I really don't know why, because I played Wand of Gamelon. I played Wand of Gamelon way too many times. I hate it. I truly hate... You know what, while I'm thinking about it, you're going to go right down here. But I know it's not because you play as Zelda, because you play as Zelda in Wand of Gamelon. So I feel like Echoes of Wisdom, what I played of it was enjoyable, but I really need to sit down and fully complete it. So I think for now, I'm just going to put C rank, only because it seems a bit... I don't know how to explain it. Like, you could tell they had a development tool that they added into the game and made it a game mechanic, which is a great idea, don't get me wrong, but it feels a bit samey sometimes. So I'm going to keep it C level for now, and we'll come back to this maybe at a later date. Now, the Link's Awakening remake, I believe we'll just put you right where Link's Awakening is, A tier. There were no changes. It's the same as the Game Boy Color version where they add in the extra dungeon at the end. Or hidden dungeon, I should say. It's not a required dungeon. Crossbow training, now that is trash. Sorry. There is no point to that thing. It's, hey, your Wii has a little thing that you can attach. It's a bit of plastic. It costs extra, but you know what? We're going to toss in a game disc just for the hell of it. Pointless. Hyrule Warriors. Now, I really, really, really love the Dynasty Warrior series, not gonna lie. I've only beaten 1 through 5, maybe 6. I think I played 6, but I don't remember too much of it on the PS2, I believe it was. It was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the Zelda version of it very much. So we're going to put you A rank, only because I don't come back to you multiple times. I already unlocked everything once, I'm good. But I feel like in the future we may come back to that one. Now, Age of Calamity, I don't own or Switch 2, so unfortunately I can't answer this one. I'm just going to leave it where it is. Cadence of Hyrule, though. I never really, so I really enjoy rhythm music games, very much. But Crypt of the Necrodancer? I hated it. It's not the type of rhythm music game that I enjoy. I really like the key-sounded ones. For those unaware, key-sounded rhythm music games are ones where if you hit a button, it plays a note in the song that you're playing. Games that include that would be like DJ Max, 2DX, Original Beatmania, Poppin' Music. Those games are by far the best. As for Cadence of Hyrule, though, it's a tough one. Although you can turn off the music stuff with it, so that way you could just play it like a normal ass Zelda game, which is great. I love that bit. The music remakes and remasters and remixes and everything in the game are pretty fantastic. However, gameplay-wise, not too fond. But you're not C tier. I don't think you would be C tier. I feel like you would be mid tier. As long as you can turn off the music rhythm game elements, it's pretty great. Oh, Jesus. Tingle. I hate Tingle so much. Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land. This was a GBA game, if I'm not mistaken. Same with the balloon fight and the Trip of Love. For the Rosy Rupee Land, though, I'm trying to remember, because all these games kind of mix together in my head for some reason. I'm trying to remember which one this was. I know the Trip of Love, the balloon Trip of Love, was the one where you, like, are trying to date someone, I think? I don't remember. I know Rupee Land, you had to collect a shit ton of rupees to do something, I don't remember what. Because in my head, you collect the rupees and then you go on a balloon fight ride for some reason, but I know that's not the case. I feel like these, because they're not really required to play, and honestly, they were pretty mid-tier for the most part. Being forced to play a character I never really enjoyed, I had to put you here. Same with Balloon Fight. And same with Triple Love. Although, actually, you know what? I think Triple Love I had more fun with compared to the other two, so I'll put you a C rank. Oh, and now we get the CDI games. The Faces of Evil. I feel like Faces of Evil. Oh, there was a few parts in that part of the game, or there was like a cave system where if you go along the path, it slowly graduates upwards, and you get hit by a dude throwing pole arms at you. And you could dodge it. It's impossible. It's very impossible, but it is possible to dodge. Never seen anyone do it except one time. However, it's not as bad as most people think, I feel. It's bad. Like, it's dreadful. It's completely dreadful, but it's not terrible. I feel like definitely not mid-tier. Not low tier. C tier. Yeah, I feel like you'd be C tier. Zelda's Adventure. That was the top-down one, if I'm not mistaken. Or was that one the Gamelon? No, Zelda's Adventure was the top-down CDI game. You could juke most of the enemies in that game, which makes it a hell of a lot easier. And it's not good, obviously. It's a Philips CDI game. Not good, but not terrible. Definitely playable, definitely beatable. However, I don't feel like you'd be C-tier material. Yeah, I think you... oh, this one's tough. I'm going to say C-tier. It will move Faces of Evil down. And I feel like at this point we should probably reorganize some of these. So let's go over it just a quick bit. We'll put the best ones on the left, worst ones on the right. For S tier, Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Minish Cap, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I'm going to put Breath of the Wild on the far left, because I had the most fun with that one. Tears of the Kingdom, I'm going to leave there for now. Next in rank would be Ocarina of Time, and then Link to the Past. Well, actually, no. Yeah, Link to the Past, then Wind Waker, then Tears of the Kingdom, and then Minish Cap. I feel like that's more fitting. For A tier, that's tough. I would say Majora's Mask first. Remake of Link's Awakening second. Original third. Hyrule Warriors fourth. Four Swords Adventures. And then Oracle. And then Phantom. Let's see, mid-tier. What do we have? Zelda, Four Swords, Twilight, Spirit, Skyward, Link Between, and Cadence. Cadence can stay where it's at. However, the best one, definitely Link Between Worlds. And then, I believe I would say, it's a toss-up between Twilight and Skyward. I would say Twilight first, and then Skyward. And then I would say Four Swords, Original Spirit Tracks, Cadence. Yeah, I'm happy with that. C tier. Actually, I think C tier is perfect, the way it is. We'll move Balloon Trip down. I'd rather play Zelda's Adventure than Balloon Trip. And then for the lowest of the low, I would keep Adventure of Link where it is, because it's not terrible, it's not the best. Actually, you know what, I feel like you should probably move up, because I don't think I would mind playing you. I don't mind playing you as a randomizer, but playing you for original vanilla content? Yeah, no, not very much. I feel like you belong C tier, but the question is where? Probably right after Zelda's adventure, for sure. As for the rest, I would rather play... Yeah, I'd rather play Wanda Gamelon first before crossbow training, and then Faces of Evil, and then the Tingle games. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So that's my final tier list. Alright, time for speed painting. Now, again, I'm not the best artist, but I'll do what I can. I'm really good at doing stick figures. See? That's me. That's me. Oh, I should probably put a little hair tuft. Yeah, that's me. I can also do really good... Well, I'm just going to show you, I guess. I'm just going to do a little thing here. Let's see. Let's do one of these jobbies, and then one of these jobbies, and then one of these jobbies, and then one of these jobbies. And then we go like that. And then we add little whiskers, and little ears, and little legs, and then we add a tail. It's a kitty cat. Perfect. Don't remind me of that again. Come on. Okay, a question of civility, is it? Well, as the right hand of my deity, I adhere to a strict forensic code of equivalence in all matters. I'm a firm believer in the old tit-for-tat, treating others precisely as one wishes to be treated. Now, thus, you will find me properly afternoonified and civil to a fault with those who mind their P's and Q's. I am to be kind to everyone I encounter in this demiplane. However, and do pay attention to this redacted bit of intel, if you decide to engage in sharp practice or cross me, the equivalence protocol shivs. I will forego the niceties and ensure your existence becomes a living hell. A state of absolute rack and ruin. And I don't get the moldy grubs, I get even. I'm a polite man, but do not mistake my gentlemanly veneer for a lack of teeth. Cross the right hand, and you'll find out exactly how scaly things can get. Okay, a question of heart affairs. Well, very well. In my line of work, the physical dimensions of a person are far less critical than their internal calibration. I should say so, provided the individual possesses a genuine personality, and, most importantly, the particular brand of crazy aligns with my own. Life in the field is a bit skew-whiff at the best of times, so one needs a partner whose eccentricities complement the mission rather than hindering it. I'm not looking for a doll to sit on a shelf, I'm looking for a brick. Someone solid and dependable, and perhaps a bit touched in the upper story in just the right way to tolerate a rogue like myself. If our logistics of the heart are in sync, then the rest is merely furthering and murder, completely inconsequential. Well, I've addressed the textual data on this before, but it bears a proper vocal briefing. Now, you see, I have been skulking about for over 1,000 years. In the eyes of a millennium-old rogue, virtually everyone I encounter is younger, from the greenest recruit to the most venerable statesman. Now, in truth, I don't give them a numerical tally or second thought. To me, age is a mere concept as fluid as time itself. What I prioritize is the connection. The internal clockwork that aligns between myself and my partner. If the logistics of the heart are sound, the date on one's birth ledger is all my eye. The only true scaly reality of my situation is the inevitable expiration. I shall, in all likelihood, outlive my companion I choose to take. It's the heavy plodding burden of the immortal, knowing that while our connection is up to the knocker now, I will eventually be the one to close the ledger on their story. It's a somber bit of intel, I know, but, such is life of a 1,000-year-plus halfling. Well, the short answer is Nanti, a hard no. As for the long-range explanation, it's a bit of total destruction regarding my trust. You see, my previous attachment turned out to be a proper shocking event. Unbeknownst to my forensic senses, the individual was a living phylactery for a very lich my party was commissioned to liquidate. The treacherous fiend was using our intimacy as a listening post for intelligence gathering. Every whispered confidence was merely data mining for the enemy. To find out one's paramour is actually a soul vessel for a necromancer, it's right fucked, to say the least. It's left my internal cogs properly out of alignment regarding romance, and I'm currently under a self-imposed paranoia protocol, until at least I can be certain a suitor isn't a sentient storage device for an undead wizard. I shall remain on the QT, and strictly unattached. That's a heavy query, that properly below the belt. But to provide an accurate dossier on the matter, one must first define the specific nature of the structural failure. If we're discussing an individual who's physically broken, shattered limbs or a bit of rack and ruin on the battlefield, then it's merely a concept of a matter of logistical resources. It depends entirely on how good the cleric is and the quality of the restorative magics. Now, a high-level caster can mend a mangled frame until it is once again up to snuff. However, if you speak of someone who is mentally broken, whose cognitive cogs and springs have been ground to dust by the horrors of the abyss, I fear the answer is Nanti. You can't simply tinker with a shattered soul and expect it to tick like a new watch. In my experience, once the internal clockwork is truly compromised, there is no spell or physic in any realm that can restore the original calibration. Now, it's a bit of a flaw, I know, but a rogue must be a realist. Okay, well, this query requires a rigorous contextual audit, for I am much like the elephant of lore. I possess a pukka memory, and I simply never forget a slight. If one engages in a bit of sharp practice or some scaly behaviour at my expense, it's immediately archived in my permanent logistics of transgression. I don't merely hold a grudge. I maintain a tactical ledger for your past misdeeds. Now, if you believe I've forgotten a moment where things went skew-whiff due to your interference, you're going to be properly bamboozled. I'm an assassin who keeps his peepers open. Mind your P's and Q's, because once you cross me, you're marked in the databank indefinitely. That's a proper flower of a memory. I suppose the cat is out of the bag now. I was once deep in the Crypt Garden forest, executing a high-stakes tracking protocol on a particularly slippery quarry. I was making my fast time, closing the gap with surgical precision, when the environment turned, skew-whiff. I stepped upon a patch of moss that was, all my eye, slicker than a greased pig, and found myself on a one-way trip down a mud-slicked embankment. I tumbled head over heels in a most ungentlemanly fashion, and ended the descent with a resounding thwack of my noggin against a hollow log. Now, unbeknownst to my keen senses, that log was the metropolis for a nest of squirrels. Now, they were properly riled and didn't care for my tactical intrusion one bit. Now, I may be a rogue, but I tell you, a swarm of those half-farthing rodents is a caution. Their bites are scaly beyond belief, and I had to beat a hasty retreat while covered in mud and squirrel nips. Not my most dignified hour, I admit. Okay, the lanterns are dimming, and Baphomet sounds like he's run out of patience for your chin wagging. If you want your query to end up on the board for the next last call, leave the dispatches on the Telonum link in the description right down there below. But until then, keep your blade sharp and your cogs turning. I'm heading back into the shadows, and this tab is settled. Ta for now.